Planning Commission meeting October 31st, 2010 is called to order. Proper quorum being established. Have approval of our reading of the minutes from July 27, 2010 for approval.
Chairman, I'll make a motion. We accept the minutes as submitted.
Motion's been made to accept the minutes. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Minutes are accepted. First order of business for new business. Final plat. I'm sorry. Staff, do y'all, is it okay to go in this order? Do y'all have any? Are we going to go in this order? Okay. First order of business will be final plat, McGill subdivision, 2 lots located at 173 and 177 Blair Road. Tax map 29, parcel 22.08 and 22.11. R3 zoning district, property owned by Randall and Stephen McGill. Staff.
Mr. Chairman, this was a plat. They submitted a plat back in July, which was denied because it didn't meet city requirements. And since then, they've resubmitted for this month. And also between the workshop and now, the city has agreed to install 1 to 2 hydrants along Blair Road to increase the fire protection out there for the properties and put that area into compliance with our hydrant regulations. We have received an updated drawing from the engineer with all the issues that we had addressed. We have not, we've got those copies there, 11 by 17s that are, I think, underneath your all's packets there. But they have taken care of all of our workshop items that we had. This is the area of the zoning map and the aerial. And the pictures that we had from on site.
Okay, you said the city had agreed to install.
Yes, sir. This is something that's been discussed in the last couple of weeks. We did notice that it had been looked at before, and something that the city should have required in the past. However, it wasn't, and the city's now going to take on that and put that in for fire protection out there.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak on this?
Not here.
Could you step up to the podium, please, and state your name for the recording?
Steve McGill. What do I need to say?
Anyone from the board like to have any questions?
It's a quick question for staff. So that the June 2010 one we have on it is it's showing. I don't see the 500 on there. That's why you indicate there was. I'll just see where it is. Is it on this?
The fire hydrant will not be shown. The city has agreed to install the hydrant. However, we don't want to show it on this drawing because we're still determining the location of where they need to go, and we don't want to put those a location on this plat that may change. So, and the reason why we're still looking into that is we want to make sure that when we address there's about a little over 2,000-foot section of roadway there that needs to have fire protection. So we're trying to figure out where we're going to install the hydrants to account for that area and not just fix one problem. We need to fix that whole little area right there, and that's why we don't want to put it on the plat just in case that changes.
Make sure they're all within 500 feet of all the lots out there.
Any other technical items we had that's been addressed, all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to accept as submitted.
Motion been made to accept as submitted. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Properly second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 2, final plat, Air Park, Lot 1, re-subdivision, located at 5605 Murfreesboro Road, tax map 18F, Group A, Parcel 1, C2 zoning district, property owned by the Dirt Company. Staff?
Yes, sir. This is a request to just re-record this lot under the current regulations. There's no actual subdivision of land taking place here. There's essentially, there's no sidewalk regulations currently with commercial plats, which at the time it was originally recorded there was. Sidewalks, are now only recorded when there's a site plan, when there's building on the actual lot. And they're asking to re-record this under the current requirements so that it's, that issue's taken care of.
So staff recommend this?
They have taken care of all the requirements, it's a non-conforming lot. However, it's only made to come into conformance whenever there's a actual subdivision of land taken, when their lot changes based on regulations.
So when we go to put a piece of property on there, this gets approved. When the property goes on there, that sidewalk will be placed on the property, so it concurs with our greenway requirements?
They would have to do that whenever they do at least if it's a 10% addition to the existing building, they would have to come in. If it's a 10% or over with our regulations, they would have to put in a sidewalk or pay the fee in lieu on that.
I don't guess I'm really clear why we're re-recording it.
They have a letter of credit on this this piece of property due to when they did the subdivision plat a few years ago, sidewalks were a requirement. So they had to either install the sidewalks or pay a fee in lieu or, do a letter of credit or bond. And that's how we come up with a letter of credit. Now, there's been a transaction on land to sell it, which has nothing to do with this. It kind of does, but doesn't. It's mainly, we've got a letter of credit that I have to keep calling all the time to make sure it's up to date and current. And they don't have any plans on improving the site at this time. So until they do plan on improving the site, this issue's never going to be resolved. We're just going to have a letter of credit that we continue to renew every year. And kind of their thoughts on it, and it kind of is in line with what the city would be too. City's just main concern is getting sidewalks there. So until they do improvements to the property, like either or do a building addition over to 10%, they wouldn't have to put the sidewalks there. And that's kind of what both cases is looking at. The way it is right now, if they was to come in with a site plan on that lot and improve that property, they'd be putting in the sidewalk or paying the fee in lieu to get their building permit, which would take care of this letter of credit, and the letter of credit will go away. But as it stands now, they don't have any intentions on improving this lot. Now we've got a letter of credit that we just have to keep, continue to get renewed. And even at that though, I think the main thing to look at is they're just wanting to re-record it. They're meeting all our requirements. And I don't really know how you could go back and say, well, we used to have a sidewalk fee. I mean, right now they're re-recording, this is the current standards as today's times, and they wouldn't be required to do the sidewalk fee or put the sidewalk in with what they're wanting to do.
And to address Graham's question too on the Greenway, we do have significant right-of-way along Murfreesboro Road that we would have to do that in. But they, and then whenever we do have some sort of construction on that site, then they would be required to install that per the city regulations. But under our prior regulations, this was an issue from time to time with the sidewalks being recorded at the plat stage. We a lot of times someone would divide a lot into two. they would build on one lot, and then the other lot they would leave, and then we'd have a letter of credit for that lot, and then we'd get the fee in lieu or the sidewalk for the lot that's being built on. Now that we've done away with that, we made that change, we don't have that problem anymore, and, we always get either the fee in lieu or the sidewalk now, with it being required upon construction.
So it's gonna simplify your bookkeeping somewhat too.
This
Very
would
much.
simplify
Yeah, okay.
the letter of credit for us.
Right, yeah, okay.
Thank
but-
you for clearing that up, Grant. You do just a great job when you're clearing things up for us. Appreciate it very much.
Any other questions? Up for a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion's been made to approve the re-subdivision of the final plat. Do I hear a second?
Mr. Chairman, I think it's just a re-recording of the final
I'm
plan.
sorry, re-recording
Sorry.
of the re-subdivision. Okay. Do I hear a second?
I'll make a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 3, site plan, AT&T. Okay, I'll go ahead and just read it as I see it, but I've got a question as soon as I get to read it. Site plan, AT&T, add 10 feet height to the existing 150 feet cellular tower to allow co-location located at 750 Bon Aqua Drive, tax map 6, parcel 19.04, R2 zoning district, property owned by City of Laverne, leased to Tower Co. 2 LLC. And I guess I'll open it up with the first question. We just we're adding 16, we're adding 18 feet, right?
Right, correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. There was some confusion with the initial application that was submitted. What they placed on application was a 10-foot addition to the tower, but they didn't address the actual lightning rod that was also 8 feet in addition to that 10 feet for a total of 18. It's been somewhat confusing, but we did check everything out. We want to make sure everything is addressed at the meeting and at the approval stage before it gets to the permit stage, and they come in with 18 extra feet.
8, not AT&T, but the FAA knows about the other 8 feet, right?
Correct.
Okay.
They in the
Well, wasn't
letter.
this site, ain't this site already approved by the FFA for 185 foot?
It was initially approved for 185 feet. However, the letter that we received today just essentially said that they were approved for 168 feet for the tower. So it didn't really give a maximum height with what they gave us today, but essentially what they've submitted is okay with the FAA.
Is there anyone here for AT&T?
Yes.
Could you step to the podium and state your name for the recorder, please?
My name is Jim Holloway.
Is there any questions staff has on this? Are there any problems? You see anything?
They've submitted everything that we requested.
Pay everything supposed to pay?
Yes, sir.
One issue we had over on Walden Road when they tried to put that tower over there is any homes within a couple hundred feet of that tower?
It's on one side, basically. You have this subdivision over here. Let me give the aerial here. It backs up to, is it TWR property over there?
Point out with your red marker where the tower is.
I believe it's back in this area.
Okay. They're nowhere close to home.
It's in this location here.
Okay.
The question was brought up on the previous, and what Dan's referring to is, if the tower did fall over, would it fall onto any homeowner's property?
think that's a question for the applicant probably. I mean,
Well, and also the question is the 18 feet making the difference? I mean,
But it still goes on, when we do the municipal application, that was a question that we asked, and we would ask every time for anyone that puts tower up. So with the addition on, let me repeat my question, with the addition, if it did fall over, would it impact any residential homes?
My understanding is that the additional height added to the tower still meets the setback requirements for the tower, and I think those are based on tower height, setbacks,
So
and
my
that sort of
question
thing.
to staff is, he's not indicating about the full zone, I mean, I'm only looking at the full zone, but my question is, he's saying it meets our requirements. So would it fall into anyone's home if it fell that direction?
We wouldn't be able to answer that question. We've not been asked the question until just now, and I don't have any scale to show you whether this is 100 foot or 200 foot or 300 foot from the tower location. And the other thing is, if it was to come a tornado or something, then I'm pretty sure that the tower is just not going to just fall over. It's probably going to blow away just like the residences and the other building and structures that's all around too. So, I mean, I don't know how to best
Yeah,
answer
the
the
tornado
question that you're
wasn't
asking.
discussed on the Walden Road tower out there. It was discussed if the tower fell down, would it fall on anything, and it would fall on the scope.
Right, and
What we need to know, if the tower would fall over, would it fall on a residential home?
And that's what I'm saying, is we couldn't, if it was just to fall straight over, I would say you've got a 160 foot or 168 foot radius, and I don't know what that radius is, because like I say, we've not been asked that question until just this point, and I don't have anything that I can pull up that would be able to answer that question for you.
I think the best that we can offer is it's a possibility. However, with it being in the rear of the water plant there, it's more unlikely than it would be if it were much closer. And
Well,
normally,
the way that y'all marked, it looks like it's to me, from the map, it looks like it's probably 200 or more foot. I don't know what size that corner is, but that would be my concern. If it would fall over, like the same concern we had on Walden Road, would it fall on the building?
I have a drawing here that shows the location of the tower, and it says a 1 inch equals 50-foot graphic scale. And just kind of eyeballing it, I can show it to you if you'd like. It looks to be over 200 feet from the tower to the property line where those houses there are. Which, you know, even if it fell straight over, you know, only being 168 feet, including the lightning rod, you're still, you know, 20, 30 feet from the property lines.
Only thing I brought this up, it was just a big issue on the one they was gonna put out for Walden Road.
You're right,
by
I
the
think
school.
from the previous application, they actually did a little diagram on the map that we saw of the fall zone.
Yeah,
Based on
and that was probably for a new tower, I would guess. This, you know, this one's already there, so we're just adding.
So it's got all that stuff on top, and you're going up 10 more feet.
Yeah, and-
Still have all that stuff.
And the original height of the tower was 150 feet, and I was under the impression there was an 8-foot lightning rod at the top of that tower, which, if you include that, it would have been 158. And all we're doing is adding 10 feet to the tower structure and then replacing the lightning rod.
Are those lightning rods like mandatory for the towers
I've never seen one without it.
or
so.
standard? I mean, is 8 foot standard?
It's part of the grounding process. I mean, you know, the lightning rod at the top, that, you know, the tower's grounded, all the equipment, the fencing every 10 feet, something like that, so.
I got another question on the, are you part of Virtual Solutions?
No,
Okay, is there anyone here that could discuss that?
not that I'm aware of. No.
We were sent some information on it, and I'm not gonna pretend I know the geometric formulas that y'all came up with, but it says Anchorage Rod Design, and they sent us these pictures, these formulas, and each page says 1 of 4, but we've got 6 pages, and I don't see the other 3 pages that go with it. Was that pertinent, or was it just a misprint, or was there more information that we were supposed to get with it?
What you all had was everything we've been provided. As far as the information that was given, it was actually more than what our city requirements call for. So it was just, I think, excess information that they were providing.
Okay, I mean, that's the part I understood the most, was the 1 and 4 instead of the formula. I just wanted to, but I didn't see the other 2, 3, and 4 of 4. So my understanding, Grant, is FAA approved 185. They're at 150 or 158 and want to go to 168. Is that
Correct. That initial approval that they received was for 185 feet, and they did send us a revised letter today from FAA stating that they were approved for 168 feet. This is, which basically matches what they'd be doing out there according to their site plan.
okay? I don't mean to stick on this technical part of it, but there was just one other part that I totally got confused on. When they addressed the 3rd issue, that the FFA had expired, which that letter that I showed you at the workshop was expired. But according to this, it says, it is very confusing the way the FAA lists this on FAA documents. The FAA expires only for the following 2 reasons. And then it lists 2 reasons, which means that was the letter expired or wasn't it? I mean, why would you they put a date on there that expired? So did y'all understand? I mean, I just want to know if staff understood it, because I didn't.
I think probably the best thing is they probably thought it didn't expire, and I think they've since found out, because now we have a new letter that says
Okay, that's
168
what,
foot.
and that's the other thing I saw when
So
y'all.
I think the board asked a good question of, in Grant and whoever else had brought that up, that was, real valid and a good point to bring up. It was expired, so,
Okay.
or they wouldn't have issued a new one and got one today.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
that's what we discussed at the workshop, and you all had talked about that, with the expiration. That's a very, a very legitimate concern. I think with that letter, it also said if it's approved, except for if there's a addition in height or something of that nature, if you read on in it. So, I think that's why we were all concerned about it, but they did address that, I think, today with the FAA approval they emailed.
Okay, because that was the only stickler with, I mean, not the only stickler, but that was just my main point of issue. I mean, I saw an expired date, and I couldn't, I mean, this explanation didn't help me understand it anymore. So as long as we got a new letter, I'm good to
No,
go.
it does not.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion's been made to approve. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, with that being said, bonds and letters of credit update.
Mr. Chairman, everyone should have a bond sheet in front of them. Basically, all the letter of credits or bonds are up to date. We have 2 that's coming up due in September, and I've sent a email to the bank on the Lake Forest Phase 60, I believe 65. That should be renewed any time. And then on Woodsong Section 4, spoke with the developer, and he's getting that renewed. So that should keep everything current.
Any further questions of the board?
Staff did a good job keeping up with this guy and Grant.
No further questions. This meeting's adjourned.